Alycats and new viewers. So today I'm bringing you my September 2017 reading wrap up, and this month I read, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 novels. That's generally my amount that I read per month, so I'm hitting my goal. Woohoo! So if you'd like to see my written reviews for all these books, they'll be listed down below in the description box, along with my blog link and my Goodreads link. So if you want to be friends with me on Goodreads, I would really love that because I need more friends on there. But without further ado, let's get into the books. First up, I read Geralds Game by Stephen King. I actually did a video review about the movie version of this novel, so if you'd like to check that out, I'll have it linked up here and down there. But I really enjoyed this novel. It's not one of Stephen King's best novels, but it is a very twisted novel, and the story centers around Gerald and Jessie Burlingame, a couple who go to a vacation home and decide to participate in a kinky sex act to try to revive their marriage, but something goes horribly wrong and Jessie is forced to try to survive. I really enjoyed the character of Jessie and how the events of her past have shaped her today in the novel, and everything she went through was so brutal and harrowing, and it had me on the edge of my seat. I did have a couple issues, especially with how the way women were sometimes depicted in the book, but overall I really enjoyed Gerald's Game and I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Next I read The Mountain Between Us by Charles Martin. The movie version of this is about to hit theaters as of the time of filming, and I really enjoyed this novel. This novel centers on two people, Ben, a surgeon, and Ashley, a journalist, who are both at an airport and they meet. They're total strangers, but Ashley needs to fly home so she can make it to her wedding rehearsal, and Ben wants to go home to his wife, but there's a blizzard that has canceled all the flights, so they manage to find a private plane, but soon enough they end up stranded and have to fight to survive and try to find their way to a town. Even though this is somewhat of a love story, it's more of a survival story, and I really appreciated that aspect. I loved getting to know the characters. I loved both Ben and Ashley and the supporting characters. I loved how Charles Martin wrote this book and how he explained all the different techniques they used to survive in this novel, and I just freaking adored it. I do wish there had been more of this novel because I was so invested in the characters and I wanted to see more about them and their backstories. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I cannot wait to see the movie version with Idris Elba and Kate Winslet playing Ben and Ashley. And I gave this novel 4 out of 5 stars as well. Then I read Odd Birds by Ian Harding. I adore Ian Harding. He played Ezra Fitz on Pretty Little Liars, and this memoir is about how ornithology, or as it's more commonly known, bird watching and the study of birds, has shaped his life, and he also chronicles how Pretty Little Liars changed his life, how he got the job of Ezra Fitz. He chronicles his years at acting school, and he writes so well. This is not written like a typical celebrity memoir. Ian Harding has a very smart vocabulary. He uses words that you wouldn't expect to see in a celebrity memoir, and it reads like a novel. It doesn't read like a typical memoir, but you also get a feeling of Ian Harding's personality, and I just fell even more in love with him, and I actually became a little bit interested in ornithology. I am not a bird watcher, but his writing about them and how they've changed his life entertained me, so I gave this book a very solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's worth a read if you're into Ian Harding or ornithology. Other than that, you might not like it, but I mean, it's a good memoir. It's one of the better celebrity memoirs I've read. I then read The Mothers by Britt Bennett, and this was a beautiful story about this group of women living in Southern California. It mostly follows a girl named Nadia who at 17 finds herself pregnant and has an abortion that is not a spoiler. And this book chronicles what happens after she has the abortion. And I loved the majority of the characters in this novel. And again, this is a novel that I wish was longer and had more backstory and fleshed out the characters more, because I love these characters. I wanted to know more about them. I wanted to know more about what was happening to them, what they were feeling. But overall, I thought this was a very beautiful look at friendship and motherhood and love and religion, and it's such a powerful novel, so I highly recommend you read this if you're interested in those topics. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I can't wait to see what else Britt Bennett writes. Next, I read How to Behave in a Crowd by Camille Bourdain, and this follows a young boy named Isidore who is 11 years old. He has 5 siblings. He's living with both of his parents in France, And this just chronicles him growing up and how his family reacts after a tragedy strikes them. It focuses on their eccentric neighbors, and I just love the fact that Isidore was such a strong character, and he perfectly encapsulates adolescence and puberty, and it was just really interesting to see the world through his eyes, and to see how he viewed his siblings, who were all super smart. They're all getting PhDs and going off to really prestigious colleges, and he's just like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. He wants to run away, he wants to experience things, and it was very smartly written, especially being told from the perspective of an 11-year-old boy. This is a very smartly written book, and it was so enjoyable, and I connected with the characters so much. I love their snarky asides. I love the personalities of each of the siblings and of the mother and the neighbors in the town. And I just really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And look at this cover, by the way, guys. It's like a Connect the Dot cover, if you can tell. It's gorgeous. I love it. But I was pleasantly surprised by this book and how smart and intelligent it was. And I kept flipping the pages wanting to know more about this family, so I highly recommend this book. And lastly, I read The Red Queen by Philippa Gregory. This is the second novel in her The Cousins War series, and this focuses on Margaret Beaufort. And Margaret Beaufort is such a fascinating historical figure that doesn't get a lot of credit. She's not covered a lot, at least in America. And she's such a fascinating character because Margaret Beaufort, she's not a likable figure in history, but she was very dedicated. She believed that God had a plan for her, that she had a destiny. She compared herself a lot to Joan of Arc. She believed that her son, Henry Tudor VII, was destined to be king, and she fought for him to be king. And I really admired that about her. A lot of people didn't like her, and they don't like her today, but I do admire her dedication and ambition. Now, this book is not completely historically accurate. There is a lot that is, but there are speculative parts. There are some parts that are just fiction, but that's what I love about Philippa Gregory's novels. They delve into history. The way they're written, they're very fast-paced and fluid, and you keep flipping the pages. It's not dry like most history books would be. And she highlights figures from history that a lot of people don't talk about. Through reading her novels, I've become super interested in the Tudors and the Plantagenets. And The Red Queen was a fantastic novel. The only gripe I had with this was I had read The White Queen before this, and there are a few parts in this novel that were in The White Queen, so it felt like I was rereading The White Queen at points. But overall, I found this really fascinating. I loved reading more about Margaret Beaufort, and I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. So those were all the novels I read in September. It was a pretty good reading month, as you could tell. All the books I gave at least 4 stars. There was one 5 stars. So it was a great reading month. Let me know what you've read down below in the comment box. If you love this video, leave a like. Also make sure to share the video if you liked it because that helps my channel grow. If you're not subscribed already but you like what you've seen and heard, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll always be alerted whenever I upload a new video or start a new live stream. If you'd like to follow me on social media sites, check out my blog, friend me on Goodreads, etc. All those links are in the description box down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and kisses. Bye. Sing me a song of a lost that is gone. Oh, hey, you're still here. What a crazy random happenstance. Well, since you just caught me singing and reading off guard, you might as well click on my floating face that will appear over here soonish and subscribe to my channel. Also, if you'd like to see my previous video, it will be up here somewhere. And if you'd like to see a playlist of videos that you can watch on repeat all day, every day, for the rest of your life, you'll find that over here as well. I'm going to go back to reading my favorite book of all time. Okay, you can go now because I'm really deep into a Jamie Fraser plotline.